Oh yeah. Oh, hey guys. Welcome back to Phillips Hot Rod Garage. Thanks for joining with me on my last couple of videos. I appreciate it. I'm getting really excited about this Model A project. Been working on this car for a while. Owned it for quite a while. Just not really been getting anywhere on it like I'd like to. But I needed some tools so I can try to make some progress on this thing. So made a little order from Eastwood and picked up some well-through primer. Picked up a little bit of rust encapsulator. I'm going to use this between the layers of metal when I take things apart. Put some of this between there, that way over time won't have rust forming and creeping out from between layers of metal. Also picked up a little speed blaster, just a little small sand blaster for doing some light sandblast work, just small pieces, not for the major work. I have a big blaster that I use for the major work. But I decided to pick up a bead roller, and also picked up a tipping die and a poly roller for it. And one of the reasons that I decided to go ahead with a bead roller is because of working on these cowl sides. I'm going to have to reform this bottom, because putting this Model A on a 32 frame, I'm going to have to take off, I don't know, maybe 3/8 of an inch off the front. It would be this edge, the front leading edge, down to nothing on the end. It's going to have a, like, I don't want to pie cut it. I just want to reform this. I want to flatten this flange out, put it on the bead roller and reform it. So that's going to help me get that panel where it fits onto the frame rails correctly. The Model A has a flat frame. The 32 frame has a slight kick up in the front that requires the body to be modified just a little bit. So that's why I got the bead roller to start off with, and then I'm going to try to be making some rear wheel wells and some of the other patch panels I'll be making with the bead roller. But also these panels, these aftermarket cowl sides, they don't have the correct curvature in the panel. They need a little bit more curve in the panel. So to remedy that problem, I picked up a shrinker stretcher combo from Eastwood, and also picked up the shrinker stretcher base plate that the shrinker stretchers bolt to. And that base plate makes it easy to mount the shrinker stretchers into the vise. Just so happens my vise is not bolted down, so that's one of the things I have to do before I really get working heavy on those with those shrinker stretchers. But anyway, we can talk about tools anytime. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Let's get to work on this Model A. All right, guys, so I've got the door off. I've got the cowl side off. I also removed the section of sub rail that I'm replacing this piece. Got this out of my way along with that brace down there on the floor. It goes inside this door post. Remove that stuff so I could get access to this rusted out area here. In my last couple of videos on this car, I put a patch panel here, and then I put one on the front side up this way. But tonight I've got to address this area here. This is the last area of rust that I've got to be concerned with on this door post. This top hole, I should be able to just weld that up with the welder, but this area here, this area, I'm going to have to make a patch to go there. Now, I just so happen to have this section of door post from another car, and this panel has enough left in that area that's rusted away on my car there that I can make a template from this piece and get the correct shape. This panel should be very close to the original shape. Even though it's rusty, I think the shape is still there, so I'll use this to make a cardboard template so that I can get a piece to weld in to this post. All right, let's take this over to the table, get some cardboard, and start making a pattern. We're ready to start trying to make this little template I need. I got a couple of pairs of 10 snips here. Find that these things cut cardboard very well. And of course, I got a couple pieces of cardboard, razor knife if I need it, and one of these trusty Milwaukee markers. I don't know if y'all have used these or not, but if you haven't, these Milwaukee markers are awesome. Just gonna hold this piece of metal down against the cardboard, just trace it out. Simple enough. Let's go ahead and cut it out. All right, as you can see now, this pattern fits really close. So now I've got to bend a piece of metal this shape. It'll fit the pattern, and then I can transfer the pattern and that metal over to the car. Let's get some metal. All right, so I got some metal here. This cowl post, door post, whatever you call it, on this Model A measures around 14 gauge thickness. A little thicker than the rest of the car. I believe a Model A, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's around 19 gauge sheet metal. This measures 14, so I got some 14 gauge steel here. What I need to do is establish the width, how wide I need this piece to be. So I'm just gonna hold it up here against it. Take my marker and mark the width of it. I'll probably leave it a little bit long so that I can weld it onto the car and then grind it down to the correct width. It always helps when you're welding if you have a little extra metal, especially when you go to weld right next to an edge. If you have a little extra metal there, you have something to weld out onto, and then you can grind it all flat. Seems to work better for me that way. Everybody does things different, but that's the way I do it. All right, let's get this piece cut off. Now, I can't use the 10 snips on this because this 14 gauge metal is too thick for that. So we use a cutoff wheel. Got a safety guard on it. Got some safety glasses. Gotta be safe. Let's get this thing cut. All right, let's check it out and see if this is the correct width now. Oh yeah, that looks good. So all I got to do now is shape it and then trim it to the correct length. All right guys, I moved over to the vise. All we're gonna do here is just bend this metal to fit this template using some really simple tools, just a hammer, some pliers maybe, marker. Nothing extremely extravagant on this, just down and dirty, simple, bend it up. But before I bend this up, I want to tell you about this 32 Ford right here. I'll probably do a video on this car soon, just kind of giving you all the details on the car. But in case you're wondering what's going on with this body work, why this body filler is exposed, got bare metal exposed. I bought the car like this, haven't done anything to it, but I'm about ready to give this thing a facelift. So pretty soon, we'll have a video on priming this car, probably black. We'll probably change the color of it, just make it look a little bit better. And we'll get started doing some work on it too, so stay tuned on that. Let's go ahead and get this metal bent up. All right, that looks pretty good. Just take it out of the vise. Let's see, needs to be twisted just a little. Okay, that looks good. Really close to the shape that I need. So I think I'm ready to take this over to the car, see how it fits on the car, see if I can get it cut down. All right, I'm back over here at the car. My template fits perfect on the car. The metal fits perfectly into the template. So everything looks like it's gonna be good. Metal fits up on there fine. So what I've got to do now is I've got to cut some off the body of the car here, and then I've got to cut this piece down to fit. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this body about where the top of the rust hole is right here. I'm going to just cut it evenly across. And I'm also going to cut it a little bit lower down here. Let's grab some safety glasses. Cut this off. Okay. It's got that piece. Now let's put this piece in the car. Get some marks on here where it needs to be trimmed. We ended up not needing as much of this bracket or this patch panel here as what I thought I was going to need in the beginning. So I will actually not be using this bend. I'll be cutting this off. So it's going to end up being just one little bend that I'll actually be keeping. That's okay. It's going to turn out nice. All right. Piece is a little warm now. Let's get a close-up view of this panel. As you can see, it fits in there well. Let's take a look with the template. It looks really good. I know the vice grips are kind of in the way, but you can get a good idea here how well that fits. So we've got to get this welded in now. And you'll notice that there's a gap in here, a little bit of a void left from some where the metal rusted away. That won't be any issue to weld that up. I'll weld this with a welder. Use the MIG welder on that. Fill this in. Then I'll just take a carbide burr on a grinder and dress that and give it the exact same shape and profile as the original. And that you will never know that was even rusted right there. Of course, I'll have to weld right across here and across here as well. But when I get that welded up, it should look just as good as this patch I did on the side and the patch I did on the front. So guys, I'm excited that this repair is almost done. I'm excited. Appreciate you hanging out with me. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell.
like my video. Go ahead and leave a comment if you would. I'd love to talk to you. We'll talk to you next time.